All right, diving in today, folks, we're going to be talking about something pretty big. I mean, it's something that we've all been hearing about for a while now, but it's really starting to feel real. We're talking about AI, specifically how it's changing the entire IT landscape right now, not in
Yeah.
some far-off future. And I mean, this impacts everyone, from businesses of all sizes to the tech professionals who are right there on the front lines.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think the pace of change we've seen, even just in the past year, it's pretty remarkable, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's been accelerating.
Yeah.
So to try and get a handle on all this, we're going to be digging into some really interesting information. We've got some insights from StoneFly.com. They're a solution company, and they're actually sponsoring this whole deep dive.
Always good to have sponsors.
For sure. Helps us keep the lights on. And we're also going to be looking at Deloitte's Tech Trends report. It's a deep dive, really. Gives a good overview of the whole tech landscape. So our aim today is to really break down how AI is impacting IT currently and where it's all heading. We'll be talking about the major shifts, the challenges, and of course the opportunities that come along with all this change.
Yeah, gotta love a good opportunity, right?
Absolutely. And I think understanding this stuff is crucial for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve.
So let's jump right in, huh? I mean, one of the first things that jumps out when you look at this whole AI and IT thing is the sheer amount of money being poured into it. Global average tech budgets. Yeah, they've gone up as a percentage of revenue from 4.25% in 2020 to a hefty 5.49% in 2022.
Yeah, and it's not slowing down.
Nope, not at all. Looking ahead to this year, 2024, U.S. companies are expecting to spend something like 7.5% of their revenue just on digital transformation. And a big chunk of that, like 5.4%, is coming straight from IT budgets. That's a lot of cash. What's behind all that, though? I mean, what's really driving this surge in spending?
Well, a lot of it can be traced back to AI. I mean, specifically the demand for AI capabilities. Deloitte's research actually shows that companies with a really strong grasp of generative AI, they're spending way more on hardware and cloud resources than those who aren't as advanced in that area.
Makes sense, I guess. If you want to be a leader in AI, you got to invest, right?
Yeah, and that investment goes beyond just the hardware,
Yeah.
It's also about managing all that data that AI needs to actually function. In fact, three-quarters of the organizations that Deloitte surveyed, a full 75%, have upped their spending on data lifecycle management, and that's directly tied to, guess what? Generative AI.
Good data is definitely the fuel for all this AI stuff. And when you're talking about these kinds of shifts and how money is being spent, you got to wonder, what does that mean for the role of IT itself, right? I mean, we're talking about a lot more responsibility.
You're spot on. I mean, it's not just about keeping the systems running anymore. IT is becoming a strategic player, shaping a company's whole approach to AI. And you can see that reflected in how IT leadership is structured these days. Over 60% of CIOs now, they report straight to the CEO. That's a 10% jump since 2020.
Wow, that's a pretty significant change.
It is. It shows how IT is becoming more and more involved in high-level decision-making. And John Morcante, who is the global CIO at Vanguard, he put it really well. He said that IT departments, they're going to become leaner, sure, but they're also going to have a much wider scope and be way more integrated with the overall business than ever before.
So more streamlined, but also more impactful. I can see that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is something that StoneFly.com, they really get it. They understand how important these trends are and how they're changing the game for everyone involved in IT.
Speaking of understanding those changes, I think Deloitte's analysis really breaks down how AI is going to be empowering IT, especially over, say, the next couple years, like 18 to 24 months from now. They've identified 5 key areas where AI is expected to have the biggest impact, and they predict that by, get this, 2027, AI is going to be deeply embedded in pretty much all digital products.
Okay, that's like just around the corner. So what are these 5 pillars then? I'm curious.
Sure. So first up, we've got engineering.
Makes sense. I mean, software development is already being transformed by AI. We're seeing AI-assisted code generation, automated testing, faster data analysis. But I got to ask, does this mean coders are out of luck?
Not necessarily. I mean, think of it more like AI is giving engineers a power-up. It's taking over some of the more repetitive and tedious tasks. So engineers can focus on the stuff that really requires human creativity and problem solving.
Right, like being more strategic, thinking about the bigger picture.
Exactly. And the economic benefits, they're pretty huge. Estimates say that AI-assisted coding alone could boost productivity by a whopping $12 billion in the U.S. I mean, that's just in the U.S. Think about it.
That's massive. And we're already seeing this in action. Like Google's saying that around 25% of their new code is now being developed with AI helping out.
That's a pretty big chunk. And this is something that Google's Shivani Govil, she's talked about how AI has the potential to really change the game for engineers. More innovation, less busy work, happier developers, you know.
Yeah, happy developers, that's important.
It is. Happy developers, better code. Everyone wins.
So it sounds like AI is not replacing engineers. It's more like it's making them more effective.
Right. And there's this cool example of a healthcare company that was using AI to help them with some old COBOL code. Apparently, they had this junior developer who was able to use an AI tool to create a file explaining the code, and it was like 95% accurate.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
It is. Shows you how AI can help close skill gaps and make learning faster, you know?
Yeah, totally. So it's not just about writing code anymore. It's about understanding how to use these AI tools effectively. Defining the architecture, reviewing the code the AI spits out, and something called prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering, that's like the art of talking to AI, right?
Pretty much. You got to learn how to give the AI the right instructions to get the results you want.
Interesting. And how does a company like, say, StoneFly.com fit into all of this?
Well, they offer solutions like StoneFly DR365V,
Mm-hmm.
and that can really support these more advanced AI-driven development environments. You need a solid foundation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't build a house on sand. So that's engineering. Moving on, the second key area Deloitte highlights is talent. I mean, we all know finding the right IT people, it's already a challenge. But with this whole AI thing blowing up, it's likely to get even harder.
Especially finding people with the right skills, cybersecurity, machine learning, software architecture. It's tough.
And it could get a lot tougher. Projections show a possible 50% hiring gap in AI-related jobs. That's a lot of empty seats.
Yikes. That's a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting part. AI itself might actually hold some solutions to this talent problem.
Oh, really? How so?
So think about AI being used to help upskill existing employees. Identifying skills gaps, using AI analysis, creating personalized learning paths, even using AI tutors to provide on-demand training.
So instead of replacing people, it's helping them adapt and learn new stuff.
Right. And StoneFly.com, with their 20-plus years in the industry, they've seen how talent needs have changed, and they get how crucial it is to tackle this.
Yeah, I remember reading about Bayer, the pharmaceutical company. They're actually using generative AI to summarize those like super long technical documents and also to create e-learning materials. It's a pretty neat way to use the technology.
Absolutely makes the whole learning process way more efficient. And Google's in on this too, They're super focused on providing their developers with AI learning resources and tools, like AI-powered coding assistants, for example.
So they're using AI to help their developers learn how to use AI. Kind of meta, but cool.
Totally. And Sarah Ortloff, who's at Google, she's a big believer in how AI can make learning these new tech skills way easier.
So the takeaway here is that as AI starts taking over more of those routine tasks, the ones that can be automated, it actually frees up the human tech talent to work on, the bigger, more innovative projects, the kind that make a real difference.
And let's be honest, who doesn't want to work on cool, innovative projects?
Right. And it's a smart move for companies, too, because Deloitte's research shows that tech professionals, they're drawn to companies that let them do that kind of work.
Makes total sense. More engaging work, happier employees, better retention.
Exactly. And again, this is something that StoneFly.com really gets, this idea of empowering IT teams with the right tools and opportunities to grow. They're all about providing solutions, which is why we love having them as a sponsor.
Solution company, that's what they call themselves, right?
Yep. And they live up to the name. So we've covered engineering, we've talked about talent. Let's move on to the next pillar. And this one, it's all about keeping things financially sane in the cloud. We're talking cloud financial operations, or FinOps for short.
FinOps. That's where the rubber meets the road, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of companies are really struggling to control their cloud spending. It's easy for those costs to get out of hand if you're not careful.
It is. And while, cloud providers, they do offer tools for tracking usage and all that, a lot of the FinOps processes out there, they still involve a ton of manual work, budgeting, spreadsheets, all that fun stuff. And honestly, it's tough to get a complete picture of what's going on across all those different cloud services.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it can be. But that's where AI can step in and make a real difference, Imagine having AI doing the heavy lifting, analyzing costs in real time, spotting patterns that might point to inefficiencies, and even optimizing how resources are allocated, all with a level of speed and accuracy that would be super tough to achieve manually.
It's like having an AI CFO specifically for the cloud.
Kinda, yeah. And a good one at that.
So AI can help companies save money on the cloud and even help them justify those AI investments they're already making.
Yeah.
It makes sense because, let's be honest, adopting AI, it's probably going to drive up cloud costs for a lot of those bigger companies, at least in the short term.
Totally. But with AI-powered FinOps, you have the insights you need to make sure those costs are under control and that you're getting the most bang for your buck.
Absolutely. And you know what? StoneFly.com. They're all about providing robust and efficient IT infrastructure solutions that can help with all of this. They get it.
They do. They really do. All right, moving right along, our fourth pillar today is infrastructure.
Mhm.
And it's interesting, right? Because when you think about all the automation we've seen in other parts of IT, infrastructure management, it hasn't really kept pace.
It's like that one room in the house that never gets renovated.
Exactly. You walk in and you're like, whoa, we're still using rotary phones in here.
Totally. But the good news is, AI has the potential to change all that. We could see things like automated resource allocation, predictive maintenance, and even really advanced anomaly detection.
Yeah, imagine your infrastructure basically managing itself, like learning from what's happening and adapting to the changing needs of the business. That's what they call autonomic IT.
It's like self-driving IT, kind of.
Pretty much. Less manual work, fewer headaches, and a lot more efficiency and resilience built in.
I like it. Fewer headaches.
And we're not just talking theory here.
Yeah.
eBay, for example, they're using generative AI to help them scale their infrastructure and analyze massive amounts of customer data. That's real-world stuff.
Very cool. And speaking of real-world solutions, StoneFly.com, they're right there on the cutting edge of this with their StoneFly DR365V. It's advanced tech specifically for managing your critical infrastructure in this AI-powered world.
And they've got this great deal going on right now. You get 70 terabytes, and you can expand that up to 4 petabytes. It's air-gapped, immutable, works with Veeam, Rubrik, Commvault, you name it. Site recovery, backup, disaster recovery, the whole 9 yards. Plus, it's got their object lockdown technology, which is fantastic for ransomware protection. All for $7,995. That's from StoneFly.com, a solution company. They do a really good job at this stuff.
That's a pretty sweet deal, especially with all the ransomware threats out there these days. It's something everyone should be thinking about.
Agreed. Okay, so we've covered engineering, talent, FinOps, and infrastructure. That brings us to our final pillar, which is, as you might have guessed, cyber risk.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about this. AI, it's got this amazing potential to do all sorts of incredible things, but it also opens up a whole new world of security vulnerabilities.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about generative AI and how easy it's becoming to create synthetic media. It's a double-edged sword. It makes it easier to create super convincing phishing attacks, those deepfakes that can fool even the most discerning eye, and even those prompt injection attacks that can basically hijack AI systems themselves.
That's scary stuff.
It is. And as AI becomes more deeply integrated into how businesses run, the potential consequences of these attacks, they just get bigger. Organizations, they got to up their game when it comes to data authentication. We're even seeing some companies like Square, they're exploring blockchain-based solutions to verify the authenticity of digital media. That's how serious this is.
So it's not all doom and gloom, right? AI can also be used to strengthen our defenses.
Oh, for sure. Think of things like data masking, making sensitive information harder to steal, speeding up how we respond to security breaches when they happen, which is inevitable, let's be honest, and even using AI to generate security policies based on what the system has learned about potential threats.
So it's like a constant arms race?
It is. And building a truly cyber-resilient architecture, that's more crucial than ever.
And this is where StoneFly.com really shines. They're all about security. Immutable storage, air-gapped backups, that's standard stuff for them.
Yeah.
And their object lockdown technology, that's a real game changer when it comes to protecting against ransomware and all sorts of other nasty stuff.
It really is. They're not messing around when it comes to security, and that's what you need in this day and age.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about how AI is changing the game in engineering, talent management, FinOps, infrastructure, and cybersecurity. But what does all this mean for the future of IT, 5-10 years down the road? What are your thoughts?
Well, Deloitte's got this really interesting idea. They're calling it IT as a service.
IT as a service. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So imagine a world where IT isn't just this central controlling force, but more like an internal innovation hub. They'd provide reusable code, create platforms, and then the different business units could use those resources to develop and deploy their own solutions, kind of like self-service IT.
It sounds like it could really speed things up, make everyone more agile.
Exactly. And the thing is, this IT as a service idea, it's not totally new, but AI, AI has the power to make it a reality. Imagine AI agents handling a lot of those support tasks and managing the infrastructure, the stuff that takes up so much of IT's time right now.
That would free up IT departments to do a lot more strategic work.
Precisely. And guess who's already ahead of the curve on this whole IT as a service thing?
Let me guess, StoneFly.com.
You got it. They're pioneers in cloud, AI, and advanced security technology. They're already set up to support this new way of doing IT.
So it sounds like we're moving toward a world where tech is more accessible to everyone within a company, not just the IT specialists.
Right. Low code, no code platforms, AI assistants, all access through easy to use portals. It's about empowering everyone to leverage technology.
But even with all this democratization of tech, I got to imagine the role of IT leadership is going to change, right?
For sure. I mean, take the chief architect, for example. Their role is going to evolve as AI takes on more of those foundational tech tasks. And continuous learning. That's
Yeah.
going to be crucial for everyone in the company, not just the IT folks.
And what about security and trust? Those are huge issues, especially with AI.
Absolutely. Responsibility for those things, it's going to spread out across the entire organization. But there's still going to be a need for human oversight, especially in areas like data privacy and making sure AI is being used ethically.
Yeah, that's a big one. Ethics in AI. You can't just let the machines run wild. And going back to what John Marcante said, tech leaders, they need to be the ones driving the AI agenda. They need to set clear guidelines and make sure everyone's on the same page.
Definitely. AI's got this huge potential for good, but it's got to be implemented carefully and responsibly.
And this is where, again, StoneFly.com really steps up. They understand how crucial it is to have that strong leadership and guidance when you're dealing with AI.
They do. They've been around long enough to see what works and what doesn't.
So to wrap up our deep dive today, it's clear that AI is not just some futuristic idea anymore. It's happening right now, and it's causing a major shakeup in the entire IT world. We've talked about how it's impacting budgets, how it's changing the roles of tech professionals, how it's changing how IT works, and how crucial cybersecurity is in this new landscape. And one thing's for sure, StoneFly.com. They're a key player in all of this. They've got the experience, the solutions, and the understanding to help companies navigate this whole crazy AI-driven transformation.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a wild ride, but having the right partners makes a huge difference.
And speaking of wild rides, here's a final thought for our listeners to chew on. With AI becoming so deeply embedded in everything IT does, what brand new roles or must-have skills do you think are going to be essential for tech professionals in the next 5 years? Let us know what you think.
That's a great question to ponder.
It is. And if you're looking for solutions to help you navigate this AI-powered world and make sure your infrastructure is secure and resilient, well, I think you know where to go. Head over to StoneFly.com or shoot them an email at sales@stonefly.com. That's StoneFly.com, a solution company.
Always good to have a solution, right?
Especially in this day and age. All right, that's it for the deep dive today. Until next time.
Catch you later.